Thank you for joining our Retouching Workflows with Global Edit and Photoshop webinar. We're excited to share best practices for retouching in Photoshop with our new Photoshop plugin in combination with Global Edit. If you're viewing the webinar on the web, there's a button on the right to leave a question or comment. So throughout the presentation, go ahead and leave a question or comment, and we'll see those come in and we can answer those, or we'll have a Q&A at the end where you'll have the opportunity to ask any other questions. So let's jump into it. So today we're going to review Global Edit's Photoshop plugin and how you can leverage that to simplify your organization's creative workflow for your retouching operations. Most of the webinar will be a demo of actually showing you the plugin, how it works, what you can do, and how you can insert that into your creative workflow. We'll do a demo with a sample e-commerce workflow. So if you're an e-commerce organization, you're in luck because we're going to be showing some best practices for that. If you're in the entertainment industry, it should be a very similar workflow or any other image retouching vertical. We'll show you all the features and how they really work well with Global Edit to enhance the retouching process. I'm Derek O'Hannison. I'm a technical program manager at Global Edit on the product team. I'm joined today by Frank Pazdera. He worked tirelessly on the Photoshop plugin and has talked to a lot of customers about it. He's a senior product manager at Global Edit, and our VP of product, Manny, is also on the call. He's been spearheading our efforts this year to make sure that we're having events like this where we get to talk to our customers and learn more about what customers' workflows and engage so that we can make a better product for everyone and make Global Edit better over the course of the next year. All right, so let's jump into it. If you're a current Global Edit customer, you know that Global Edit is the #1 platform for managing work in progress digital assets at scale. That's sort of where people find the most value in Global Edit, is that in that work in progress phase. You can store your assets on any platform, but on Global Edit, we really have the tools to collaborate with all of your coworkers, whether it's rating those assets, commenting on them, leaving markups, sharing them with the right groups with the right permissions, adding new versions. Those collaboration features are really what makes Global Edit powerful, and we really want to enhance those. So if you haven't used Global Edit before, Global Edit is an incredible tool to take your raw assets right from the studio and go through that collaboration workflow to turn those into final published creative works that might go out to your marketing or e-commerce site or advertisements. Retouching is an important part of that workflow. You know, in the retouching flow, it's one of the more complex parts of the creative process. There are lots of stakeholders. There's large image files that have to go back and forth. There's lots of revisions and new version requests. Retouching can be a nightmare if you don't have the right tools, and Global Edit provides a lot of them with all the tools that I just discussed, our markup tools, our collaboration tools, our comment tools. It really helps manage the retouching process. Our goal with the Photoshop plugin is to take that a step further and really reach out to the retouchers so that they don't have to manage their workflow across 2 platforms. They can stay in Photoshop where they do their work and make that retouching process seamless. So the Global Edit Photoshop plugin allows a retoucher to complete retouching tasks completely in Photoshop, taking all the powerful collaboration tools that Global Edit offers and combining them with, you know, the industry standard best-in-class image editing tools of Adobe Photoshop. So really marrying the two, our great collaboration features, Adobe's great image editing tools, and trying to make a process that has involved a lot of downloading and uploading and communication confusion and make it really seamless. The Global Edit plugin is available to all Global Edit customers. You can go ahead and download that at the Creative Cloud Marketplace. There's a screenshot on the right, and that's going to be the first part of our demo that I'm sharing, is how you can install that. So let's jump into the demo. I'm going to show a sample creative workflow of how you can install the plugin and how your retouchers might use it to collaborate with the creative directors or the rest of the creative team. So I'm going to jump over here to the Adobe Creative Cloud Marketplace. This is just the Creative Cloud app on my Mac. So if you have Adobe products, you'll have this app as well. I'm going to go over to the Marketplace here and search for Global Edit. And I can find the Global Edit plugin. Now I already have it installed, but if you didn't have it installed, there will be an install button here, and it's just a one-click install to get that into Photoshop. We've got our description here, and we've got some pretty good reviews so far. If you work for an enterprise where maybe your Adobe account is managed by your IT department, you may have to ask them for permission to install apps like this, but for anybody else, it should be just one click. So I've installed that plugin, so I'm gonna jump back over here to Photoshop and we can see what it looks like to open that. You can find it under the plugins menu. I'll go to Global Edit and I'll open up the Global Edit plugin here. You do have to have a Global Edit account to use the plugin. So I'm going to log in here with my retoucher account that I've created for this demo. And these accounts have the, well, let me try that one more time. So these accounts have the same security protocols as Global Edit's web app, so you can rest assured that your assets are just as secure in the Photoshop plugin as they are in the web app. This recognized my device, but if it hadn't, it would have asked me for two-factor authentication. So let me select my demo organization here. If I work for multiple companies, I might see multiple companies here, and I just have one account here. That's the Global Edit account that I'm going to be working in today. So I'll select that, and then I'm all signed in, and I'm ready to get started with retouching workflows in Photoshop. So let's see, let's go to Global Edit and see how we can start our retouching workflow. So here I've set up a sample organization in Global Edit. I have my workspace organized for a e-commerce product photography workflow. So I have my workspaces here organized by year, and if we were to drill down into one of these years, we can see that I've set up some folders by season. So we're in the summer season now, so I'm going to go to this folder here for this photo shoot, which happened on 6/11, and I've got some folders in here. And in this example workflow, these images in these folders are right off the camera from the studio. So here we have some nice royalty-free stock photos of laydown products for clothing, and we also have a set of on-model images. And you can see in here, you know, we have all the great Global Edit collaboration tools. I can go ahead and add a color label to this to signify part of my workflow. I can change the star rating. I can apply these labels to help filter and whittle down these images to exactly what the retoucher should be looking at. And of course, I can collaborate with the rest of my team on this. One thing that's great for retouching workflows is, let's say our retouchers really only have to work with assets that are labeled select. What I've done here is, if I flip over to the projects view, I've turned this whole summer folder into a 2022 summer selects project. And if our retoucher signs into here, they're going to see that same folder layout with this photo shoot. They're going to see those laydowns and those on model images. But what's different about this is they're only going to see ones rated select. That's a really nice way to share only the images with your retoucher that they need to see automatically. So they don't need to guess about which images they should be working on. If your retoucher is set to just work on selects, you can set it up so they only see selects updated in real time. That's with the projects feature. We know many of our customers like to work with collections as well as projects, and a collection, unlike a project, which is automatic, lets you select specific images to share with your retoucher. So I've created this 7 to 13 retouching collection here, and I'm going to go select a few assets to add to that. So let's go to our on-model shots, and we'll have our retoucher retouch some of these shots. I'm going to choose maybe this one and maybe this one, and I'll go ahead and I'll right-click and I'll add that to the collection that I've created. And there's another really great image in here with two very attractive models modeling their summer outfits here. I'm going to go ahead and make this 5 stars because that's a mistake that it's 4 stars. And I'm going to go here to the markup. I can see that I've added a few markup items here. This is for our retoucher, so it's a great way to leave retouchers visual feedback of what should be done. So I can see here, I requested that these wrinkles be removed. I requested that the background of the image be removed. And as I hover over each of these, I can see the specific part of the image that's been pointed to. So I can increase contrast on these fashion models as well. Let me leave another one here. Maybe I also want this image to be cropped. I'll say crop to square for Instagram. And I'll mark that as a to-do for our retoucher. So if I wanted to, specify exactly where I want that square crop to be, I do. Let me, give an example for our retoucher so they know exactly what I'm looking for. And now when I hover over each layer, I can see each markup, and that image is really great. And I'm looking forward to see what the retoucher does with it. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add that to my existing collection as well. I'll add this to this 713 retouching collection. If I go in here, I've actually already shared this collection with the retouchers, so it should be available in their account. There are a few members on this collection. I've shared it with my other account, which is my retoucher account. So let's go ahead and log into Photoshop as a retoucher and see what the process for retouching those images looks like. So I'm in here. I'm going to give this a refresh. When I log into the Photoshop plugin, I can see both this project that we talked about, which includes just selects if I was working in a project-based workflow, or this collection, which I see was updated 31 seconds ago and has those 3 assets that I shared. So in here, I've got these 3 assets that I want to be retouched. And I specifically want to look for ones that have markup, because I know that our creative directors like to leave markup. So I'm going to filter this down by assets that include markup. And I have just this one image that I added markup to. I could also filter by labels, star ratings, or color labels. It's a nice way to whittle down your assets to find the right one, or I can search with the same search tools as the web app. So let me open this asset in this plugin. And what's nice about this is I don't have to leave the plugin. I could change the star rating. I'll make this a select from me as well. And I have all these markups here, and I could even leave a comment. So to edit this image in Photoshop, it's as simple as opening the asset in Photoshop, and we can download that, and it immediately opens up here. And what's amazing about this, I think the most powerful feature that people really love, is each of these markup layers has been converted to a Photoshop layer. So I can go through and I can turn each of these on and off, and I can see exactly from the name of the Photoshop layer what has been assigned to me as a to-do. So this is really great. So for example, I'm gonna look at this layer here, this fix wrinkles layer. And what's a nice feature in globaledit is I can have a look at this, and I can just reject this, and I can leave a comment back here and say, no, he is perfect the way he is. And so I'm not going to address that comment. I'll go ahead and I'll hide that layer. But let's address the other ones, because these seem to be pretty good. So, remove background, that's pretty self-explanatory. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to select, I'll select my background layer first. I'm going to go ahead and select the subject here. Take the inverse here. I'm going to take that background right out of there. I'm going to mark that as finished. What else do we have from our retoucher? Increase contrast on the fashion models. That's great. I'll go here and I'll create a new adjustment layer with brightness and contrast. Let me bring up the brightness a little bit and maybe increase the contrast. Maybe we're trying to make this really pop out at you. Mark that as finished as well. And then the last step here is to crop to square for Instagram. And of course, I can use this to see where the markup here was. So I don't have to keep flipping back between globaledit and the Photoshop plugin. These are all markup layers that are live in here. So let me go ahead and do that. Adjust the crop area a little bit to make these models fill the frame. And there we go. I have a nice layer here. Now this is just round one. So maybe our creative team will have even more feedback. So I'm going to upload this right back to globaledit as a new version, and we'll leave a comment for the team to review my changes as the retoucher. So I can go in here and I can say upload a version back to Photoshop. I could select any file from my disk. I can also open from my open Photoshop documents here. So this document is the only document that I have open in Photoshop. I'm going to keep the version name the same because globaledit manages versions quite well. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to upload this full layered PSD. So if there are changes, I can come back here and be working in the same PSD with my next revision. And when I upload this, I don't really want these markup layers to be in that PSD. So I'm going to check this box and we'll go ahead and remove those for you when you upload to save you that manual effort of going through and deleting those layers. So let me click export here. And that's going to upload that PSD to globaledit, and it'll take a little bit of time to process because it's probably, you know, a much larger PSD than just the JPEG that we started with. So while
we have a question from the audience. Can you upload original assets or only versions at the moment?
That's a good question. Right now, we only support uploading a version of an asset. So we're really trying to work within that retouching flow where you're opening documents in globaledit and you're uploading a new version. So we're not letting you put new assets in your globaledit library from the Photoshop plugin. That said, you can upload any file from your hard drive as a new version. So if somebody, you know, if you had assets already on your hard drive that you were working on in Photoshop, you can go ahead and open those in Photoshop, do your retouching, and then upload that as a new version of any asset in the platform. Looks like our upload is complete here. And, you know, Frank asking the question is a reminder that anybody can ask a question, and we'll either call those out on the call or we'll wait till the end and jump in and review all of them. So let me go back here to globaledit, and, you know, as the creative director, I'll check in on the work that this retoucher has done. So I can go ahead and I can open this, and I can see that this new version has been added, and the way that we manage versions in globaledit is really great. So every change is tracked. So I can see the original file, and I can see the second version, and I can go ahead and I compare these. And I think yeah, I have a few different tools to compare. I can see the original, the increased contrast, and the new crop on the new version. We even have the light theme here, so you can see exactly that square image on a white background. I think it's pretty clear that you know, product management skills do not translate into photo retouching skills. I think I've made this image a bit worse here, but regardless, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to leave a comment on this asset for Frank, and I'll say, you know, please review. Now let's say Frank does come in here and he approves that. Maybe he could hit the approve button, and we'd be ready to share this asset, let's say with our marketing team. So a great new feature in globaledit that we want to throw into the demo today is our public share links feature. So I can make a public share link and send this to anybody on the internet. They don't have to have a globaledit account. This link will just expire after 7 days. So let's say I want our marketing team to put this on Instagram. I can go ahead and copy this link, shoot it off in an email to them, and they will see a nice gallery like this without any login. They'll be able to view and download that asset and post it wherever they like, or continue to forward this link to whoever they want, and they can see details of that asset. It's a 16 megabyte PSD. All right, so that really concludes the demo. I want to emphasize that you know, as a retoucher, if I was just a retoucher, I could have completed my whole workflow without ever leaving the Photoshop plugin. So that's a really great way to work. I know a lot of our retouchers jump back between globaledit and Photoshop and have to manage a lot of downloads and uploads and folder structure, and this lets them really focus their workflow on one asset at a time, and seeing those markup comments that they can respond to right in line. So let me jump back here to my presentation.
We do have some questions from the audience already. So the first question, can you select multiple images at a time to import into Photoshop? Usually I get sent collections with multiple images that make up one project, and then upload that entire project back into Global Edit.
That's a good question. So while you can review the whole collection in Global Edit with thumbnails, we don't support yet a bulk uploading, but you're not the first person to ask for this. You know, I know a lot of retouchers really just want to open a whole collection of images at once in Photoshop and go through them, and that sort of one by one flow is not valuable to them. So that's something we're looking to improve in the future.
Okay. All right. This next one, this seems like an internal workflow. How easy is it to assign access to an outside company who's doing our retouching and that company is offshore?
Yeah, so I have a few answers to this question. This is internal, so you know, the first answer would be you can give your offshore company access to Global Edit with a Global Edit account if you want them to have access to the features of collections and projects for retouching. If they are not Global Edit users, or you don't want them in your Global Edit account, I think the new share links feature that I demoed is a great way to send a batch of assets off to retouchers. So you can select any folder of assets, any set of assets, right-click and generate a share link, and you know, email that off to your retouchers, and they'll be able to download a zip of all those files. You know, that's not going to work with our Photoshop plugin. Our Photoshop plugin is really designed for Global Edit users, so that we're supporting all the versions and collaboration features of Global Edit. And the third answer I'll give is that we are, you know, Global Edit has an open API, so many of our customers will work with us to design integrations to get their assets out to a retouching partner, whether that retouching partner is automated or if it's just an FTP server with an offshore team.
Awesome. So we have another one. If you retouch and then hide the markups, is the retouching hidden? I might have misunderstood that one. If you retouch inside those folders and then hide the markups, the retouching is hidden, right?
Let me think about that for a second. If I'm parsing that correctly, I believe so. So let me rephrase the question. Yes, those in Photoshop, those markup layers are just layers. So if you were to hide those, if you were to put the retouching inside of one of those folders, it would behave like any other Photoshop a group of layers. Yes.
Okay, great. Last question we have right now. Will this presentation be available to watch again later?
Yes, this is being recorded, and I believe we're going to send this out to everybody who's participating or who RSVP'd and was not able to join. It should be public on our website and YouTube as well.
Great. Let's see. It looks like we have a few more. Can I access my library folders via the Photoshop plugin?
So right now, because you know, we didn't want to overload Photoshop with trying to load an entire Global Edit library, it is just working with collections and projects. And we think that's, I think that supports most use cases for now, as you know, the retouching flow is usually done with a collection or a project of assets. But if there were a need for, you know, sharing folders in the library, we could explore that as an additional feature.
Great. One more. When I upload an image when I open an image in Photoshop, where does it live on my hard drive?
That's a good question, and it's can be a little bit confusing for new users because it's just in temporary storage. So it's not in a file folder that you would be able to easily find on your hard drive. So when I open an image asset from the plugin, it's just in temporary storage, and when I upload it, you know, it clears from that cache. if you want to, you can open images in the Photoshop plugin from Global Edit, and you could do a save as if you wanted to place that somewhere specific on your hard drive for organization, and you could still use the plugin to upload it afterwards.
Okay, we've got another question. If you upload a PSD, are you able to convert it to a JPEG so that the designer doesn't have access to the PSD?
If you upload a PSD, the asset in Global Edit will be a PSD. Frank, you might have to help me out here, but can another Global Edit user be given just access to the JPEGs that we generate for images through permissions?
Not today. However, I think you can when you're uploading a version to Global Edit through the plugin. You do have the option to save as a different type. But no, I don't think that today there's a way to prevent people in Global Edit from downloading certain types of files.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, that might be a solution then, is to upload two versions, one with a PSD, one with a JPEG. That could be a little bit clunky, but at least it would keep that version history of here's the PSD and then here's the JPEG, and somebody can just access the latest version.
Good. Any other questions from the audience? I'll give you another minute or so to think about it.
All right, I'm not seeing any come through, but you know, we're always here to engage with our customers, and if you would like a demo of the Photoshop plugin that's more specific to your organization and your workflow, you can reach out to your account manager, and they're happy to help show you how it could increase your workflow productivity if what we've demoed today is, you know, not a good analog to the way you work. But with that, I'll say thank you everybody so much for joining. It's great to see some good turnout. And if there's any questions, please, you know, reach out. The product team is really excited about engaging with our customers and learning more about your workflows. And we look forward to hearing from you. And we hope that you have the opportunity to try out the Photoshop plugin in your process.
Oh, Derek, we did get two more questions just now. Can the plugin work with EIP or RAW files?
So any asset that Global Edit supports, we're able to open in Photoshop from the plugin. For uploading assets back to Global Edit, it has to be one of the supported formats. So that's a PSD, which you know, should be able to handle everything, or a JPEG or a PNG. Is that correct, Frank?
Yeah, that's correct for now. Last question. Is there a file size limitation for the plugin?
Yes, there is, and it's a whopping 50 gigabytes. So I don't think that you should be hitting that anytime soon.
Awesome. All right, I think we've answered them all. Thank you, Derek.
Right. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Have a great day.